and I'm queer, but I'm not here like that. I mean, I'm here, but I ain't queer. I can tell you that right now.
That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. That's what we got, Herschel. I mean, Janejira. I mean, both. That's a whole different conversation. Um, Good morning. It's me, Dante, the Suit Man Barnett. You probably missed us last month. Uh, per usual, we had a hiccup. Every once in a while, it happens, right? Like people oversleep. Our last guest last month, he's from the Eureka, California. Actually, where I met our guest today, and he'll tell you, Eureka is like stuck in the late 70s. They still have a good time every night out there. So I'm sorry we missed you in December, but we're back now. We've got guests lined up for the next couple of months, but we're gonna have a good time today. Our guest today is another fellow comedian. He's been touring all over the country, meaning he's been using his EBT card over all over the country as well. We talked about that earlier. I always love to say that because I think people think that just because we're comedians and we decided to tour doesn't mean we're rich yet. It just means we don't have a real job. We talked about that earlier too. But give it up for your girl, your boy, your lady man, the boss chick. Give it up for the potato and chip enthusiast.
Yes, hello. It's not just me. Our mascot Broccoli is back. I don't have anything to mount him on in the new setup, but for anybody who missed him, he's back.
And for anybody who didn't, guess what? He's here.
He's back.
And Broccoli is our first queer dinosaur in podcast history. So you got to give it up for that. We're breaking barriers here. There he is. Hold on. Let me show the world. There is Broccoli, everybody.
Yay!
If you, not to be confused with the Geico Gecko, for those of you who have bad pixelation.
We couldn't afford the Geico Gecko. He's too expensive.
It's expensive, right? Oh my God, I can't deal with you. But give it up for our host today. He looks like he's what is it? An interview with a vampire on a diet. Like he hasn't been a chick in a while. He looks like he's a little rough around the edges. Give it up for Nathan Hart, everybody.
Hello.
Woo!
How you
How
doing
we
today,
doing?
big guy? Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, where you're from. Where are you at today? Are you even in wherever you're from? Or because
Uh
I know you go all over the place. That looks like an
yeah, yeah.
Airbnb.
Yeah, no, this isn't an Airbnb. This is my friend Seth Milstein's kitchen.
Okay.
I live on his couch right now over there.
Oh,
Um yeah, yeah. It's been a wild couple of months. Um I live in Eugene, Oregon.
okay.
I'm from Tampa, Florida,
What the fuck? How'd you
but
get to Eugene? How to fl-
Ooh, I like your
Oh,
mug. That's a
oh,
vibe.
oh my God. Look at the humble brag. I'm just gonna take my
oh,
Yes.
my
For
mug
our
out.
audio only listeners, he got an awesome mug. It says best comedian ever.
That's a
yeah.
little bit of a humble brag, isn't it? I mean, I'm on the podcast too, and I don't know if you're better than me, you jerk. No.
It's 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 not even my coffee mug. It's
That's the best part.
but it's around. So
I like how he just threw shade on Seth. He's like, "This is Seth's coffee mug." I'm not gonna say that exactly, right? I'm just gonna say it's not mine.
not mine.
Somehow whoever lives here has the best computer cup. And I said his name earlier. His name's Seth Milstein. No. So let me ask you. I mean, how'd you get first off? Let's step back. Your name's Nathan Hart. You're a
Yeah,
comedian, right?
yeah.
How long have you been doing comedy, big guy?
I started in 2014 back in Tampa. Uh, that yeah, and then I did it there for a few years. Moved to Portland for a few years. I've been in Eugene for a few years. Uh, been on the road since October, kind of doing
Yeah.
this relatively full time.
And what I saw that, and I don't mind if what caused you to go on the road? What was your final hump to be like, fuck it, I'm doing it. Let's go.
I had two festivals in the same month on opposite sides of the country, and I decided I was just gonna put together as many gigs on the way as I could. And just from doing that, it was like, well, I might as well keep going afterwards. Oh yeah, and then also my marriage fell apart, so there was no reason to live here anymore. And thus the couch also.
Yeah. I'm mad you went there. I was wondering if we were gonna take the gloves off. I remember when I got back from so I met Nathan in real life. I think we met before Savage Henry. I think I've
Yeah,
seen
we met pre-pandemic like once,
right. Yeah, I
I
think
think. Yeah.
yeah,
I think we did like
my
one show.
yeah,
We did a show in like Ballard or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah, my
Yeah.
Ballard Brothers. Oh, that's right. You came up and did my Ballard Brothers show.
I think so.
That's what
Yeah.
it was. Okay. Because I book a lot. I've been like I did a
Yeah.
post a couple months ago that had 34 pictures on it, and it was
Yeah.
34 major pictures of me as a producer. Not any of my
Wow.
shows, not anything I was on, just like new
Yeah.
shows, new content. And now that I think about it, my memory kicked in. I can see
Yeah.
Nathan Hart on that yellow, ugly,
Yeah.
plain flyer I made, not that Janejira masterpiece she makes.
And I look pretty different now, so I never blame people if they don't recognize me. Like I had a mohawk before the pandemic. I barely look like the same dude.
Okay, now
Wow.
now now it's all coming back. Thank you. I'm
There
glad
we
you
go.
said that. I can remember the little fucker with the mohawk. I don't remember
Hmm.
this hipster Tom Cruise that just gave up. Look, you got going right. I'm just gonna let my hair grow and my facial hair come in.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You're a sexy bitch. You know that.
No, thanks. I think.
Thanks. But when I met you in October, we were at the Savage Henry Festival. How was that experience?
Yeah.
Did you like it? Did you love it? What's the Savage Henry Festival like?
Dude, I barely remember it. I got so fucking high. Like there
No
was there
way.
was there was so much weed around. No, it was really fun. I like Savage Henry. It feels like a summer camp kind of vibe. Of like it's like 50 comics come down there and we all hang out. I'll eat a bunch of mushrooms and cause a bunch of havoc in Eureka down there. It's really fun. That club's really well run, and it's got this real like punk rock vibe to the whole thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love working down there.
Yeah, it was so we had who we had Mike Katoya. You remember
Yeah.
Mike Katoya? And then we had Hollis on here, right? And not on here, but on date we've had Hollis on here and we had Mike Katoya on dating with disabilities. And
Hmm.
people were like when I met Hollis, I couldn't just say hi because he started
Hmm.
talking to me and I was like, nah man, you gotta tell me what the fuck's wrong with you. What are you talking about? I'm normal. No,
Yeah,
no, we're
right.
not, we're not, we're not doing that.
That's a good joke.
Right? I was like, mm. And then with Mike, I think you were there. Remember, Mike was trying to park in front of the club, and it was taking him
Yeah.
forever, and we were all laughing about it. And then he got out,
Yeah.
fucking all fucked up, and everybody was, oh shit, we can't. And I was the one guy who's like, fuck it, I'm gonna make fun of you whether you can't walk right. Or I said, I know you can't walk, but you can't park for shit either. And he's like, hey. And I love the festival because I felt like it's like the oddball, right? Like
Yeah.
the leader of the mischiefs, right? Like we've got every kind of oddball there. Everybody gets to be who they are. You know what I mean? There's the
Yeah.
cool kids club. I mean, I felt it the last night when the quote unquote headliners showed up. There was, kind of a different vibe to the festival,
Right.
right? Because those same 20 comedians didn't seem like they hung out later either.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
That's always gonna happen.
right?
Everyone's into networking and shit in this business, and sometimes it gets out of hand. I like the kind of networking where we with joints.
Yeah,
I like that part of it.
yeah. The
Yeah.
networking, we're always sitting in a circle. Here, have some mushrooms, have some
Yeah.
ketamine, have some
Exactly. Great. Yeah. Great time.
So, what started your comedy journey? What got you started in comedy? Let's start there.
Yeah. Let's see. I used to own a head shop back in Florida. For that I was like 21, 22, and I had like maxed out a bunch of credit cards to try and run a small business. And I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I was never like it never was a
And what is a head shop for those people who don't know?
oh
It's a smoke shop, right?
yeah, it's a smoke shop. Yeah, I sold bongs. It was like way before legalization and stuff like that. It was like 2013. And I think it's still illegal in Florida. I don't know. I haven't really checked in a while. But yeah, so I ran that thing, and then after I opened it, I kind of learned that I didn't really like being stuck in a particular location, but I did like working for myself. And I started listening to Mark Maron's podcast to kill time while I had no customers because I was running a very bad business. Um, and listening to Maron kind of talk about the life, of being a comic, of doing wild shit, of all the rock star stuff that we get to do sometimes. That seemed really attractive to me, and the idea of developing like a skill uh, that helps you get by. That stuff all seemed really attractive, and so then I started doing open mics like right after I went bankrupt. Um, and
Like how you're like, I went and filed my paperwork and then I went to open mic. Let's laugh about this.
I went to the open mics, yeah, and I think I just like watched open mics for like 6 months before I went. It was at Side Splitters Comedy Club in Tampa. They're like one of the best clubs in the country. Is what I've found out since then, is that I had no idea I was starting somewhere that was so like accomplished and that people have a lot of respect for if they know what it is. People can underestimate Florida comedy, but it's really it's solid down there. Um,
I feel like that was a little local pride that just came out. Like the little boy in you is that you
yeah,
can say whatever you want about Nantucket, but we know how to tell a joke here in Nantucket,
yeah,
motherfucker. I don't
yeah.
give a fuck what you say, goddamn. We know funny is funny, goddamn it.
Florida's got a reputation.
Yeah.
I get that, but
On this episode of Florida Man.
Hey, guy tries to fuck an alligator while his wife watches. Is that cheating or is that called polyamorous? Right? Like, it's
did the
called
gator agree?
it's called polygatory, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh no, but it's so. Are you? No, I skipped over one thing. We don't say everybody's neurodivergent on here. We kind of changed that whole idea, but we think
Mm.
most of the people we invite are a little spectrumy.
Oh yeah,
He said, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." Do you
yeah.
have any diagnosis? Are you formally diagnosed? Are you
Um,
part of a
I,
group, a clan, a club? What are you? What are you?
I got diagnosed with severe ADHD when I was a teenager. I don't really, I don't medicate it or anything like that. I kind of try and deal with it with coffee and weed and meditating, which kind of works. Um, uh, and then I've got undiagnosed depression. But other than that, I don't know. There's probably some other stuff going on in there, but
Okay.
it hasn't gotten in my way enough really for me to bother.
You're a white guy. I love it. You're the first white person to be like, I'm probably ADHD and I got some issues, but I'm still white. I'm okay. I didn't say that, but I saw him looking at me and Janejira going, I'm not one of you people, though. I am doing I'm still the best comedian alive. Didn't you see the cup?
I'm white as paper. I got privilege. I smoke all the time and don't get arrested. I'm good.
It's all right. I made it here I'm matriculated from Florida. I'm fine.
uh,
As long as
none
you're
of
not Florida Man, I think you're good. So I think
none of
it's
the
fine.
none of the previously stated opinions are held by myself.
I like I did not. I might have thought those things, but I didn't say them. Damn it! She did. She put down the cup. I like how I called it. I don't even want to sip of this right now. You gotta keep the cup
Need some
out.
coffee.
This is gonna be a bit. We're running with the cup for the rest of the day. That'll be our callback for the show. Well, you said you were diagnosed ADHD. Did that?
Yeah,
Oh, he's like, I need more coffee.
I
Now that
actually do
you
need more coffee.
can turn and
We're gonna,
grab it. Don't fucking
yeah.
drop the coffee pot. I don't want to be this. Go ahead.
This is the big advantage of setting up my podcast studio in Seth's kitchen, is that the coffee's literally
Right
on
here.
fridge. All right.
He was like, it's awesome. I've got another cup refilled, and I can let everybody know again. I am the best comedian. There we go. Let them know. Let them know. So when were you diagnosed? Was this high school, middle school,
Yeah.
elementary?
High school. High
I,
school.
and did
Yeah.
it when you got the diagnosis? So, well, hold on. How old are you first off, Nathan?
I'm 32 now.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was probably like 16, I want to say.
oh, you're still young. Okay, all right. Damn
Yeah.
it. Fuck, I'm old. I'm 42. I'm that.
Oh man, see hearing that sort of thing starting to not feel good because it's like, fuck, how old did they think I am? What's been happening to my body?
This is white. This is white 42, right? This
Yeah.
black 42. See how it looks different? He's
Uh,
32 and I look 32, but we're
yeah.
the opposite. That's where you age about 10 years older.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And don't worry, this is Asian 22 right here for everybody.
Hell yeah, I don't
Tomorrow
age. I'm allergic.
she's gonna look 72 real quick one day. Just one day out of nowhere though. She's gonna go
I'm gonna like shrink 5 inches and then tell you stuff about like kung fu and start doing tai chi in the park and tell you back in my day. And they'll be like, "How old are you?" I'll be like, "I'm 97." They'll be like, "Why do you look 40?" And I'm like, "Cuz."
I'm Asian. She can do that joke. I do it. When I do it, it's not as funny. When she does it, it's okay. She's got the worst Asian accent too. I love it when she does her accent. I'm like, your mom doesn't sound like that.
When I do it, it's a crime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for
When,
sure.
when he does his Asian accent, we all fucking make fun of him though.
I know.
Has your ADHD affected your comedy? Has it affected the way you're getting along with people, or do you feel like it's
Um,
kind of the mill thing? Is it?
it's hard to tell sometimes because I think a lot of comics are really self-conscious about how much output we have. And so I,
What do you mean by
I
elaborate on
have my
that first?
sorry.
Elaborate on that. What do you mean
Yeah,
by
yeah.
conscious of
Yeah.
how much output you have?
I think a lot of comics get really in our heads about like how much new material we can put out and how often we can do shows and how and just how much comedy we can do, right? And I think
Stand by there, because I've never had anybody say that. What proponent side of that are you on? Like, are you somebody who's taken their time to? Because here's what I'm saying to that is, I know a lot of people out here that are in their first year or two and they're ready to headline.
yeah, and they're wrong.
Right.
They're
He's-
they're wrong. It just is.
right. Like I got 45 minutes, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, you don't. Like
you don't. I'm really sorry. You might have it written down, but it's not ready.
right, and
It's just not.
it's not a quality 45.
Yeah, and you're get like there's I know that there might be some people who hear me say this that are going to be mad at me for saying it until like 3 years from now, and then you're going to understand that I just like 3 or 4 years from now they're going to look back and be like, oh man, I probably shouldn't have recorded that hour, that kind of thing. It
That hour was trash, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw me before pandemic, right? And you saw me
Hmm.
at Savage Henry. And I think
Yeah.
you saw me as a host, right? So you saw
Yeah.
how I had 15 minutes in my first year, but I wasn't booking it. I was just hosting
Right.
it, right? And
Right.
even for me, some of my jokes are still the same from when I started, right?
Right.
But their precision,
Hmm.
way I know when to wait for a laugh, my
Yeah.
little head nods, right? My little
Right. Right.
attaboys. Those are all practiced, right? Like I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like Kevin Hart when he does the has and, but you've got to be that guy, right? And I don't
Right.
think like if I could do the same set, like my set that is on my YouTube channel, I got 5,000 hits from Portland at Helium.
Hmm.
It's a slow built burn, right? I did my
Right.
Duante joke and they kind of laughed. I did Edward and they kind of laughed. And then I did Gainel and I think they were like, okay. And then I did my fuck my students joke and they were like, holy shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
That's
I,
a good one.
right, yeah, right. Like it was a momentum builder. Like when we think of
Yeah.
sets, right? I didn't know how big of a deal that set was
Right.
because it's everything you want, a little bit of a slow, a little bit of warm. You see the laugh per minutes come up, and then I kiss, there's a
Yeah.
crescendo, and I walked off stage.
Right.
Difference is I could do that same 3 minute set, and I know it would go way better now because you know how to
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
it.
And so that
Go ahead.
you used that word momentum, right? And I think that's the big difference, that like these new comics, they've been in for a year, they've got, maybe they're right, maybe they've got 45 minutes worth of material that if they got up as like a, if this was a play, if this was like a one-man show and they were
Hold on.
reading
Say
their
that again.
material,
If it was a what?
if it was like a one-man play, like if this was like a one person gets up, does their, and they're just reading their act, right? Maybe it takes 45 minutes to get through the act, but that's not really what headlining a show is. To me, so much of what we do is like energy projection. It's momentum, it's maintaining a feeling and a rhythm. And new comics just haven't, they just don't have enough stage time to really maintain that energy for the amount of time it takes. And granted, that's not everybody. There are some. I like all over the country, I've noticed, all because I met a lot of comedy scenes back in October when I was driving to Florida and stuff. And everywhere I went, I noticed that the comedy scene was exclusively comics that have been doing this 3 years or less, that they started post pandemic,
Bingo.
or they've been in this for 10 years or longer. That there's a gap in the middle where no, there, that like everyone who was doing this for like the 4 to 8 year range, they all quit or something. I don't know exactly what happened, but I've noticed there's just this huge gap now, and the new like group of comics that's coming out right now work a lot harder than my generation did back, 10 years ago. And so like, rules are changing. I think that the newer ones, they do put together more time quicker and better. So hopefully what I'm saying will be outdated within another couple of years, where like, yeah, someone can actually headline in 3 years time or whatever.
I
See,
like that.
I look at it and I go, and I haven't seen as many comedy scenes I think as you have, right? Obviously, I didn't drive from Seattle to Florida, right?
Right.
Or Oregon or whatever you want to call it. That's a hell of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
trek, right? But
Yeah.
I've been to Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
I've been to BC, I've been to Boise, I've been to Honolulu, right? I've been to
Ah, that's cool.
Sacramento, I've been to Eureka, I've been to San Francisco, I've been to LA, right?
Yeah.
So that's nine, almost 10 in Seattle, Portland, right? That's 10 major markets, and I've been to Eugene and everything in between, right?
Look
Yeah.
who's humble bragging now.
Better get you a mug.
It's got to say, oh, as he takes a sip, and he was still on the spotlight. That was perfect. With his hair coming down, that was like a commercial. But what I meant by that was that when you go to these places, there's three things I've found in common. First one is every comedy scene has drama.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not even part of it, but Dante gives me all the updates and all the tea, and I'm like, ooh, glad I'm not part of that.
We're emotional people.
Right? We've all got drama. We're all, and then on top of it, the second one is it seems like you just hit it, especially now. And even when I started, there was a weird dichotomy, but
Oh.
of comics. You know what I mean? Of this
Mm.
side. I slowed down a little bit, huh? I see it says my internet connection's bad.
Yeah.
But
We lost you for just a second, but I think you're back.
okay. But I said there's a weird dichotomy in comedy. No matter where you go, the
Mm-hmm.
second one is of, and I think it's got worse since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
When I started comedy, you said you're 10 years in, right? I'm
Yeah.
5, almost 6 years in, right? So when I started, it was kind of your mid phase, and we worked hard, but there was a pecking order, right?
Right.
There were clubs you went to do open mic, and you didn't get signed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
don't mean it was literally no, you're not ready. That's what?
Right. Right.
What
Right.
Nah, I got 15 people and I don't need any more. I'll have some more people coming later. I'm not gonna put you on. And you were like,
Yeah.
what? What do you mean I can't go up? What? Fuck you. Right? Well,
Yeah.
I put you up last week and you weren't funny and you killed the momentum of the
Mm-hmm.
show. And you had no clue that you did that.
Yes, because you can't even feel it at first. You're just up there, you're nervous, you're sweating. Like I thought I was gonna throw up my first like 2 years of doing comedy, like every time. And yeah, and then you just gotta eventually you find your footing. and you start to notice these things of like, oh, right, energy. Yeah, it's weird.
Hey,
Yeah.
the guy before me did 7 dick jokes. I
Yeah.
might save my dick jokes for a different day.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
there's so many little things that are that you there's no way to like
He
I
did
don't think this is a teachable thing,
it, right?
you know?
We could tell you this, but you don't get it till you go through it, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
I think the
Uh-huh.
third thing about every comedy scene was there's extremes of everything. There's a new
Yeah.
guy that you meet that is crushing it, and you're like, you've been doing the comedy for 3 months? Are you fucking kidding me? There's always an old guy that you're like, oh, he must be new. And they're like, nah, he's been doing comedy for 15 years.
The cautionary
Mm-hmm.
tale.
Yeah. The guy,
Yeah.
like, don't
Yeah,
hang out with him. Go ahead.
yeah. Every time I'm like now that I'm like 10 years in, every time I go to an open mic and I eat shit, I'm like, "Oh no. Am I turning into that guy?" Because every scene has one, and I've met so many of them. These guys that they've been around for such a long time, and they just never figured out how to make it work. And like, I don't think I am one of those guys necessarily. Things seem like it's an upward trajectory for me, but you never know. You never know when you're gonna fall off a cliff.
Right. Like, are you the guy that everybody tells the women don't talk to him? He's just sleaze ball. He's just gonna try to
Mm,
bang you in the parking lot
right.
and tell you about his 15
Yeah,
minute
and every scene's got one of those too. Every scene's got at least one of those. Or unless it's Portland, and then they've got 30 of them if you watch Instagram stories.
Oh God. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going there. One of my favorite Portland one of my favorite Portland comics has been found to be sleeping with. Never mind. I can't say anything because it'll say who it is. Um,
Mm.
let's just say one of the favorite people out there aren't perfect anymore, and nobody cares about it. And I'm not. I love him, so I don't care. But I find it funny whose transgressions we count and whose transgressions we don't.
Right. Yeah.
We get to
Yeah.
the point.
I mean, it's just like greater society at large, right? Is like the people who are already on top get away with more shit.
Yeah, if you guys like a person, then they can make mistakes.
Oop,
If you don't
we
like,
lost Dante for a second.
damn it. Am I back? Hello?
You're
No.
back.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think
Okay. Now you're live.
you're almost back.
Yeah, all right. So I
Oop.
said I think we decide if we like a person that they can do bad things, but if we don't like a person, we don't let them do things we don't like. And I think
Yes.
that's the problem.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you're in,
Then the bad things are in
go ahead.
it's almost like the bad things become an excuse for the reason you already didn't like them.
Bingo. Well, you just didn't
Yeah.
like.
Hell yeah.
Like I told you, I lost my wife and kids a long time ago. Now you want to turn it into I'm a
Mm-hmm.
violent person? Nah, if I was a violent person, I'd have whooped your ass for saying I was a violent person. Oh, sorry. Never mind. Did that get too soon? Oh, personal. Sorry, my bad. We had one guy in our scene who hit on a 19-year-old, and they're like, "That's creepy," and I'm like, "No, he just
Oof.
likes young girls. She's legal." And she said no, and he stopped hitting on her, and he gave her a ride home. That doesn't sound creepy at all. It sounds like he hit on somebody. They said no, he gave him a ride. That's what's creepy
Yeah.
about that. I don't know. I digress. Right. But then we have other
You
people
know.
who go quid pro quo for bookings, and they're fine because, he was going through a bad patch and it was rough for him. We all understand. No. But I think the third one in comedy, though, like I said, I said the creepy guy, the bad guy, the plethora. But the third one I think is comedy is people start producing shows way too early.
Mm-hmm.
And I had somebody say I
Because
produced,
production's its own skill too.
right? Bingo. Not only is it a skill,
Yep.
but the ability to identify you're not the funniest person on the planet and your group of friends isn't the funniest people on the planet.
Uh-huh.
When you start producing
Uh-huh.
too early, all you do is put up your 7 new friends. So you got
Right.
shit show
And
with 7 people. Go ahead.
even when you start producing later on, it's like you're probably still going to do the same thing, but now your friends are funny, so you're fine. It works itself out
I talked
over time.
I talked to somebody about that and they're like, well, you produced early. I was like, yeah, but I didn't have any friends. I still don't. So if Fuck you guys. You're
Right.
like really hard. I feel like you're identifying with that. Well, let me ask you, you went on the road to 47 different comedy scenes, right? Being neurodivergent,
I mean,
did that fuck with you? Like having to do I guess for me, and I think you noticed it, I don't know if you noticed, but like day one, I wasn't that friendly to everybody. By day two, I
mm,
kind of warmed up. By day
right.
three, I was talking to everybody. That whole
Uh,
introduction, that whole friendly play of new guy on the scene. How did that work when you're doing a road tour like that? Because
um,
let me be honest, and I'm not trying to say be honest. When we say road tour at our point, we're not talking like I know you had a ton of paid shows, right? But
mhm.
we're not talking about making money paid shows. We're talking
No,
about
yeah,
covering gas money, 20, 30, 40
right.
here, right? If you're
Yeah,
on a good night, 75 to 150. Am I
yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, that's about right. Yeah, I mean, so there was some better nights. I would probably be pulling a few hundred. Um, uh,
But
you
those
know,
are like 1 in 10, right? One out of every 10
it,
shows.
those were more rare. At my level, I'm not a draw. Like I don't
And
people are not buying tickets to come see me, but I'm a passable comic. If the show's already
I hope you
there,
know
you
this.
know.
I'm not trying to humble you.
No, no, you're fine.
I'm trying to project and get people to understand what we do.
The
Like
reality of the
I
situation.
did 10 days in Hawaii and I was like, yeah, I did 5 open mics and 4 paid
Yeah,
shows. Do you know how much
yeah,
money I made? $160. Now, that's not
yeah.
bad. Right? That was
No,
almost my flight there because I got my
yeah,
flight for 216. So you're saying I got to go to Hawaii for 500
yeah,
bucks for 10 days?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
At this level, I'm working my way up. I'm building a network. I'm trying to meet a bunch of people so that next time I come through town, I can do bigger and better shows. Yeah, ultimately, let's see. Back in October, I drove 7,000 miles. It took about 40 days, and I lost about $1,500.
Ooh.
Is probably about that's about how it ended up working out.
No, but think about stop. No, that should be a good thing. Because think about it. If you ate, smoked weed, drove, entertained
Mhm.
yourself at
Yep.
because
Had a place to stay.
hold up, yeah, right. I'm getting there. That's $37.50 a day. Remember, I'm a nerd. My math kicked in.
Mhm.
That's
Wow.
exactly.
Damn.
Do the math. It's because it's 15 over four.
I'd call you Rain Man Barnett.
I fuck off. He's like, you're not suit man, you're brain man. If I was, it's 47 and 47. I'm pretty sure it's 47. You should definitely bet on black. Bet on black. Okay. Never mind. It looks like Dustin Hoffman, you prick. Anyways, that's $37.50. When I can start doing this on stage, I've been saying this for years. If I could just start ranting on stage, because I think if I did it, I'm the Black Lewis Black in a way, right? That's funny. I'm
Yeah.
Lewis mixed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Lewis Blacker.
oh fuck, Lewis Nick. Oh, never mind. I heard what he really. You laughed.
He said
I
that. I
didn't.
did not say that. That wasn't me.
I said what? I didn't say
Don't
anything.
get mixed up.
But
Audio listeners.
audio listeners, Dante is the one who hinted at the N word, not me. But that's hilarious. But
Not that Florida.
when I tried to tell him, he said, I'm not that Floridian. I'm North Floridian, not Southern Floridian. Actually, it's the other way around. Southern Floridians aren't that bad.
Yeah.
It's the Northern, never mind. I've been to Georgia.
Southern Florida is Cuba.
Yeah, that's fine. They don't mind us, right? We're not that big of a deal. We're
Mm-hmm.
political prisoners. Um, but for 37 bucks and 50 cents a day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For a month, right? That's lodging, that's
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
You can't do that at
Right.
home, right? And
Yeah.
I'm privy
Tough
to
to
the
do.
idea that you came home from Savage Henry and your marriage was like, fuck it. And you're like, all right, well, that's cool because I don't have to pay rent anymore, bitch. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, and for like the first month or so, I still had gigs all over the place. I was driving up to Seattle a bunch and shit like that. This month, things are a little more dry, so I'm here on the couch playing Baldur's Gate with Seth a lot more. And that's fine. There's gonna be ups and downs. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's enough.
You gotta understand. Sound effects. She's got to do something.
Sound effects. Yeah.
Might just be the creepy girl in the corner watching us have this verbal makeout. You know what I mean? oh, this is fun. This is cute.
Right.
Expressing themselves. But what I mean by that is like for 37.50,
Yeah.
you went around the country and shared your art, and you made your network.
Right.
And I've told this before. I think this
Yeah.
is the biggest thing
Yeah.
I've tried to tell comedians, especially new ones. You wanted to get somewhere in comedy, go do a road trip for instead of a vacation. Take your seven
Yeah.
days off and drive up to
Yep.
Rhode Island, right? You're a New York comedian, you're close to New York. Drive to that big market. Look on you get
Right.
isn't that
Get
part
out
of
of
what
town.
you did, right? You had some shows booked, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what were you doing in between those shows?
Right.
Going to open mics. You were trying to get guest spots. You were working for free.
Any night I had off, I would go find whatever open mic.
I
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
be.
Got to meet some people.
I've got 3 shows booked this week, right? One was in Tallahassee, one was
Right.
in Kissimmee, one was here. Those in
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
there, I gotta find places to do comedy because I
Right.
can't stay in the same town and do my 15.
Right. Right. And ideally, I go to an open mic, I show up. Usually people would kind of, at the start of this, you were asking like, how do you break into the new places? And I would go to these open mics, and at first it would be very like, oh, who's this guy? And then some of the comics who had been around for a while would start talking with me, and they would catch on that like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. This, like before I would get on stage, usually they could kind of catch on that like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. He's not this guy's not bullshit. And then I would get on, and then everyone wants to talk to you, which is reasonable. Like you never know in this who's just good at talking the talk, who might be trying to fool you into thinking that they're legitimate and stuff like that. So like I usually don't want to have a full conversation about comedy with somebody if I haven't seen their set. It feels like kind of a waste of both of our times if we're not on the same page about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and then by the time I'm done with the open mic, it's like there's 3 or 4 dudes that are like, hey, next time you're in Chattanooga, hit me up, let's do a show. You want to come crash on my couch? Like it would be kind of everywhere I went, uh everyone wanted me to win. That was the coolest thing about meeting the comics and all the different scenes, is that like everyone was like, hell yeah, man, get out there, because it's what we all want to do. At least most of us, I think it's what we want to do, is make a living on the road.
Not only that, but I think, especially in your sense, and I think we can agree with and this is part of why I'm Soup Man, right? This is part of why you go by yourself, you drive, right? Is when you're on the road, like, and I know you're like me, we show up an hour early, right? You'll sit
Mhm.
down and go, oh, the place has a restaurant. Oh, I might as well go get dinner there, right? Let me have
Right.
my club sandwich. It's not going to be steak and lobster, right? We only want to spend 37.50
Yeah.
a day, folks. Remember, that's gas, everything.
Right.
37.50. We gotta. Not only that, but let's talk road life. That's the one big meal of the day, isn't it? Because we might end up
Yeah.
drinking, we
Yeah.
might end up partying, depending on
Right.
how this set goes. Right? We got to eat
Yeah.
one good meal. So I'm going to go to the venue. I'm going to
Yeah.
sit down. I'm going to eat something hearty. I'm going to find some.
Mhm.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Like that. That's the whole.
Dude,
Go ahead.
I was probably staying in hotels about once a week, because Airbnbs are a lot cheaper than hotels right now. But every time I would stay in a hotel, I would make sure I would get one of those with the continental breakfast, and then I would fill my suitcase with food from the continental. I'd come down and grab waffles and walk them back up so that I could eat them later. Like it was like stashing coffee creamer in my pockets. Like that's you live like a vagabond.
Hey,
It's the
kid,
only way to make it work,
you
really.
get bagels to go. You make a
Yeah,
sandwich to go. If
exactly.
there's juice,
Bags of banana bread and shit.
if they've got unopened juices or yogurts or whatever products that are sealable, you're taking all the extras at the end of the
Yep.
day. You're making
Didn't
friendly,
tell me I couldn't.
right? I'm asking. I'm telling the people up front. I'm a comic. I'm gonna be on the road. Am I
Yep.
allowed to just grab this shit? They're like, sure, go ahead. I can grab you boxes. Did you want some biscuits and gravy to go? You fucking right, I do. Here, fucking give me all the
Yeah.
biscuits and gravy, bitch. I love it. Right. But I think that's I talk to
Man,
people.
you're so much more polite than me.
It's not polite. It's so let's talk about this. Being a big black guy, I can't just come down and take shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Being a
that's
little
true. Okay. You got me again.
God damn it. What do you mean that's true? What are you saying? You get it? You understand? As he takes, I
Yeah.
love the smugness of the I'm the best comedian ever. Ever. But no, that's the I think I'm gonna freeze for a half a second. I think that's the fun in it, right? Is playing that game. And I try to talk
Yeah.
to people who are new comedians about if you think you're that fucking funny, go on the road. Because I can guarantee you, and
Right. Go find out.
I know Nathan won't back down for me saying this. You can feel about me however you want to feel. You can talk your little trash. You can make your drama. You can cancel me. But I can go on the road like Nate, and I guarantee you, I'm going to kill it. I may not be the
Yeah.
funniest guy in the room, but guess what? I'm always fucking funny. And I'm always polarizing. And one thing I love, and I think you'll agree about these festivals, is once you've reached your character, your mood, your groove, right? When you go to these festivals, it's like
Mhm.
you don't feel like you're fitting in. You feel like you've got your space. Does that make it? Do you get what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
Like you
because
may
you're
not be the king of the kings, and I'm always going to be
right.
the guy that dresses and flashy, but I
Yeah.
still back it up, right? You may
Yeah.
be the
Yeah.
quiet guy that nobody talks to, but once they see you on stage, they're like, "Oh fuck, you're kind of funny, man. Hey, what's going
Oh,
on?
that guy.
What's up?"
Yeah.
All right,
What's your deal?
All of a
Yeah.
sudden, you're the talk of the town.
Yeah.
right. People
Yeah.
hated me the first couple days and thought I looked like Easy, and then I showed up in my suit and tie, right? Like, tell them when I showed up that first day, nobody wanted to talk to me. You were like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey," you're like, "I know you," and I was like, "You do? Well, thank you. You're the only one who's talked to me today. Everybody else has been scared of me, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
then
the
I
Well,
showed
they're
up.
afraid they're gonna get audited. That's why.
No, I was in. No, no, you son of a bitch. Good one,
are you
Dave.
my process server?
No, I'm not Dennis Miller. Why do you ask? Right? Go ahead. What were we gonna say,
Oh,
Nate?
dude, I forgot. I have no idea what I was gonna say.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah.
forgot.
Oh, the festival. Yeah, that I feel like that first day, yeah, everyone was kind of settling in. Because again, a lot of us hadn't seen each other go on stage, and you don't know how much someone's just kind of like running a game on you. If they just know how to talk the talk about comedy until you see them actually go up. And then you know where they're at. Then we can actually talk. Even if you don't think they're great, if you think they are, now at least you can talk.
You
You
know,
can talk on the level, you know. Um, and it's like that anywhere, and it's probably like that with a lot of other entertainment jobs too.
I find that one funny because, to be honest, I think it's the opposite for me.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if you noticed, but I was talking to everybody
Uh-huh.
the first couple days, and then by the second or halfway through the second and third day, I was like, "Oh, you suck. You're not funny. You're big.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to talk to anybody anymore, right?"
Yeah.
Because I get the opposite treatment. I think when I showed up to the festival, especially showed up driving and I got out with all my, hood stuff on and we were playing sports. And so I was kind of just being reserved and competitive. Everybody was scared of me. And then they saw me and I was in my
Nope, we lost him.
damn it. My back.
Sad vibes. There we
Oh,
go.
he's back.
Okay.
Yay.
What
There we go.
so when I showed up the first day I was being competitive, quiet, and kind of not a thug, but just being me in
Uh-huh.
my own way. And then that night I showed up in a suit and tie, and I don't think a lot of people didn't know I was the same guy as earlier, for one. So they're like, "Hey, hi, who are you?" And I was like, "I played softball with you, you racist prick. You don't recognize me?" They're like, "Oh no, I'm not racist." And I'm just like, "I'm fucking with you." But no, since you felt that way, I'm definitely gonna keep fucking with you. Or I said that to her like,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
my bad, you're right. I didn't recognize you. You're not my only
Oh,
black friend, fucker.
momentary
His,
pause.
his wife, I didn't want to hear the story.
Yeah.
You guys are
Fucking racist ass Wi-Fi.
You're getting censored by your own Wi-Fi.
Oh, you guys are killing me. Am I back? Please tell me I'm back. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're back.
Okay,
You're
we're
back.
alive.
Yeah.
Next time, I'm just gonna make a sign that just says like you're frozen, and then like hold it up.
Hey,
That'll be like a little light indicator.
that'd be a
Yeah.
great thing. You'd actually be working as a co-host then, I don't.
Hooray!
But the second day, when that night when we went to perform, I think half the people couldn't recognize me, half of them could, right?
Right.
The
Yeah.
ones who couldn't and were racist, I'd give them a hard time and they'd get sensitive. The ones who couldn't and weren't racist, I'd give them a hard time and they'd laugh and be like, "You're right, fuck it, okay, you got me, right?"
I don't know how they could miss you though, with the iconic curls and the like tree height. Like,
I was
how did
wearing a
they not
hat.
know?
I was wearing a hat for one, and
Oh
then there was
no.
another big old Samoan looking dude there that wasn't even Samoan, and they probably thought it was his cousin was in his
Whoops.
room, or right. But then the second day, you're kind of right because I think at these comedy festivals and at open mics, especially when you go to a new scene, you see these people and they're like, "Yeah, I'm funny," and they're talking up. And I think my biggest thing is I don't care how funny you are. I just care what
Mhm.
kind of person you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'd rather talk to people and meet them and their comedy suck and then be a good person. I can still
Right.
talk.
Oh,
Yeah, just
totally.
like when you
Yeah.
met me.
Yeah. I'm not trying to imply that I'm some kind of elitist that I like only want to talk to people who are really great. I just mean like talking about
Um,
theory, about like the
no.
way comedy works, you
Now,
know?
stop there. That you are right. I was going to get there. But I think a lot of people, I avoid the comedy conversation.
Right. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah.
And so when people start talking comedy, I'll walk away. I'll be
Mhm.
like, never mind. I'm not. Okay, I gotta see you on stage because not gonna hear 7 times about how you killed it in Winchester, Ohio. I've
Right.
never heard of
Right.
fucking Winchester, Ohio.
Yeah.
Glad
Yeah.
your
I hear
mom
you.
and all her PTA friends were fucking there and you were crushing it. But
Uh-huh.
those aren't black people. Those are your mom's black friends. Okay, you've never. There's no. That's not a black crowd, Paul. Like,
Right. 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 Right.
and so I think you're right to like that extent. There is that barrier, but I also think it's different. Like I think my favorite scene to go to was Honolulu.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
been?
Tell me about Honolulu.
So
How
here's
is it there?
the first or second comic I saw was like fuck white people. And I was like, yeah,
Uh,
no. And the whole room,
we made it.
and I was like, oh, fuck. This is the comedy. Woo, we're
Yeah.
here. I can do my joke. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And not in a bad way, but oh, yeah. And then the second comment was like, yeah, like he said, fuck white people. They're all like, woo. Yeah. They're gonna do it again. And guess what? Guess what the third comic said? Thank you, white people, for being here. But fuck white people. And
That's a vibe.
that's a vibe.
It's a
That's
vibe.
the dangerous line. It's a vibe. That's definitely a vibe, right? But not only
Yeah.
that.
I've done
You're
I've done
frozen.
Alaska, but I've never been to Hawaii.
So
Yeah.
I'm I'm frozen. Thank you.
You were.
Okay,
You're
okay,
back.
you're back now.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying anything they got, but I'm pretty sure Alaska's like Honolulu in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Like there was a
Yeah.
lot of not anti-white, but I wouldn't call it anti-white. It's just like
Yeah.
every other. It's like going to a white club. You hear about all the other fucking races. Well, when you go
Uh-huh.
to Alaska and Honolulu clubs, you hear about white people.
Yeah.
Like
Totally. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
they still got out the show and wanted to have a drink with you, right? They
Uh-huh.
still would talk to you. They'd still laugh at your jokes, right? But there's the other part was there's a lot of trash comedy when you go to Hawaii and you go to Alaska because they're the only comics there. So
Right. It's the only game in town. Yeah. Yeah.
They win by default.
right,
Right.
like
Right.
Participation trophy.
yeah, they got to get booked. You got to book
Yeah.
7 people this weekend.
How are the audiences in Honolulu? Because the in up in Anchorage and stuff, they're awesome because there's nothing to do.
Yeah, that was not the
Because
case. that was not.
That's not the case. See, that's what I was thinking. Is that like typically when I've done comedy in places that are like really touristy, like Florida, it can be tough in some areas. Florida, Vegas, those kind of places, like it's hard because there's so much other shit they could be doing.
I'd come.
And I imagine Honolulu being the same way, where it's like it's hard to listen to me do my 10 minutes about my dick or whatever when you could be on the beach.
Holding your own dick, right?
Yeah, holding your own dick. Exactly. Yeah. Right.
I might
right.
even get somebody to hold it for me.
Right. It's like, why am I listening
Give
to
it
this
some
guy's dick
sun.
stuff? Yeah.
I might
Yeah,
get lucky, right?
That could be my dick up there. Yeah.
Hey, fuck you. Fuck your dick. I'm gonna go talk about lying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was it was different. And here's what I'll say is I got told I should dump down my comedy in Honolulu.
Whoa. That's weird.
And it wasn't, but you've heard my sets enough. A lot of my stuff has
Right.
a layer or two to it. Like
Yeah.
I said something and oh, that's not what he meant at all. Oh, I saw what you did there, right? And so they were just like, nah, we want a surface laugh. Like we want 1, 2, 3 punch.
Mm-hmm.
Not 1, 2,
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, 7. Here's 3. Not
Right.
we don't want a salsa, right? And then the other part of it
We
was,
don't want to think about the joke.
yeah, that part, right? Like, some of my jokes, I'll wait for a laugh, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna think that long, buddy. Next joke, and just deadpan, right? And then the other part was,
Yeah.
The open mic life. Like the shows weren't bad. There's 15, 20 people at all the shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them there was 30 at the open mics. Whoo, right? Like it's pulling teeth.
Yeah.
People are walking by. You're doing outdoor mics. It's 80
Right.
degrees, so we're doing comedy on the sidewalk, right?
Yeah.
You got somebody getting pulled over across the street, right?
Right. Right.
Somebody who was strung out on drugs walked up on the
Yeah.
open mic, right?
Yeah.
The funniest joke I heard though was a homeless guy at the open mic. He was like, if I was a little bit gayer, I'd be able to afford living in Honolulu. And we're all just like, what the fuck? He was like, yeah,
Okay.
if I could just suck 4 dicks a day, that's $100. And if I did that 12 days a month, that's enough to get a was over here like, that's actually pretty good math, right?
That's kind of good. Yeah. I mean, it's
that checks out. That's
good economics at the very least.
Goes like,
Yeah.
$5 a blowjob. That seems cheap.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
could get more than that. And I was like, are you sure? And then
How practiced are you?
right, like have you
Yeah.
some taste testing, like, or oh, sorry, that's funny, right? Like, is there metric here that she's like, well, I mean, what if you got $50 a blowjob, then you could only do 2 blows. So we were literally sitting here calculating how many blowjobs were necessary. I was like, that was pretty good. That's a good premise, right? Like, and this is how South Fork starts, right? Like, I'd rather suck 4 dicks than go to the office. If I could just suck 4 dicks a day, I don't even have to go to the office anymore. And if I charge $100 a dick, that's $400. And if I did that 20 days a month, that's $8,000.
Wow. I think I might be quitting comedy.
This is the part where we all consider OnlyFans.
I'm thinking how much more money I would have made if I'd just been sucking dicks on the road. Like it wouldn't have lost no $1,500. That's for sure.
I don't know. Are you good at?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'm probably way better at comedy than I am at sucking dicks. I'm.
Are you gonna cry during your blowjob? You don't cry during your set when somebody forces it all the way down your throat and tells you to finish your job, right? Like, don't be a bitch. This is $20. You're gonna do what I want. Like, yeah. Oh God.
I'm a consummate professional, no matter what I'm in. Not gonna see me crack.
Right? I'm in the role, man. I bought into the character.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Too
getting
late
that
to turn
$100.
back now.
Right? But
Does blowjob come with drink tickets?
hey, yes, it does, right? I'm definitely getting stage time if I give you this blowjob, right? Hey, you might have
Yeah,
got more
yeah.
stage time too. Oh, damn. Oh, that, oh, that best comedian ever, right? Hey, she did her job. Well done. But
Yeah.
Hawaii was just, it was different, right? Because it's isolated, but like I don't know, as a real comic, as a real producer, and what I mean by that, somebody with vision, not just seeing a mic every day. And I think you know what I mean by that, Nathan. They're the
Hmm.
people that are just going up every day, and then they're the people really thinking about, do I have a career in this? I'm gonna try acting, I'm gonna try improv, I'm gonna do more than
Right.
stand up because I'm an entertainer, not just a comedian, right? And if I ever move to
Yeah.
LA, guess what? I'm gonna have to start doing those other things if I really want to be working all the time. Anyways, I digress. But
Yeah. I mean, that's another weird thing that it's like that Hedberg joke, right? That is the Mitch Hedberg where it's like oh, so you're a chef, can you farm? That whole thing
yeah,
of like people are always asking us to do other shit that's not stand up. Um and that's, on some level, like that's how you build a draw, is like that's part of why running podcasts and stuff is good. It's how you connect with your audience, because we can't be on stage all the time, and a lot of us have a lot of free time that otherwise we're just going to spend smoking weed and jerking off. So like you might as well get into some other stuff like acting and production and all these other things if you really want it to be, if you want this to be your whole life, you know. And I think if you want to be the best comic, if you want to be the best you can be, then you got to devote as much time as possible to it. And that means your bills still need paid. So find some other stuff to do. Like I've done a little bit of extras work and stuff like that. It doesn't hook me the same way that comedy does. But it's cool. It's cool that I've got that stuff on my resume now. Like it's little things that get people on board with me. Um,
or pay a bill,
uh,
right?
or pay the bills. Exactly.
Like
Yep.
Janejira, I pay her. I've been paying her 50 to $100 depending on how well I've been doing for the last. She said, I will do that, right? But at the low end, that's 3 to 5 grand.
Yep. Right. Right. And then
That's my fault, though.
if
Yeah,
she produces 3 or 4 other podcasts like this, there's your nut for the year,
Hooray!
right,
At least, if you're living like a rat, like I do.
right. And
Yay!
that's not a ton of money over 4 to 5 years, right? That's $1,000 a year, or $500 to $600 a year,
Right.
right? That's not a lot. But think about if you just saved up that six
Yeah.
hundred dollars,
It's called side hustle.
right? That's a weekend. If she was saving up that
Mm-hmm.
50,
Mm-hmm.
that's a 3 day weekend on Suit Man.
Oh,
I froze again,
right.
right? And I think those are the things
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
think in
You're back.
I knew. I knew that happened. I saw it. It said unstable. And I'm like, I'm not unstable. Oh, the connection. Sorry. but
We're all unstable, but not like that.
but I think the thing
Right.
is like we all forget that these are the building blocks. We talked about this and I hope you had fun. I don't know if you know this, but we made it. It's been an hour, Nathan. We made it to the end. But we did a whole show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. We talked earlier about you want to do ding. I know, yeah, it's 9 a.m. It may not feel like it, but we did it nine,
I
Yay!
right?
never
Go ahead.
I don't even remember asking how long this show was supposed to be. So
Yeah, there's more light in all of our shots because the sun finally came
yeah.
up.
Right. For real.
Right?
Yeah.
There's this blind spot. I should have closed my shades, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
when is we
I
talk
had to open the blinds. The light bulb in this kitchen is out, so I had to do what I had to do.
but we talked before the show about like you starting your podcast and this kind of being a
Hmm.
run for you to get a feel and all these different things. And this is what the thing is, right? Like if you're not
Yeah.
doing these things and not just doing them, but doing them positively. Like don't just do a
Hmm.
podcast with your 3 friends who think you're funny. Find somebody 3 states away from Florida who still wants to hang out with you, right?
Uh-huh.
Somebody
Uh-huh.
out of your circle that actually wants to do something with you. Find you a project that nobody else is doing, right? And I commend you because like to see somebody go from fucking Oregon to Seattle to Tampa all on their own dime, and then to be honest to come back and be like, yeah, man, I did like 50% open mics. I lost a ton of money. I had some good times for 3 months of my life and did comedy over the country. That's the real answer. Instead of the
Mhm.
assholes like I'm on tour and I toured all over the country. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just, meh. So I want to commend you on that. Tell me what the
Yeah.
one nugget. If you had one nugget from your road trip, what would it be?
Um, hmm. Don't introduce other comedians to your wives.
That's good stuff.
Or how about don't marry a chuckle fucker, right? You can do that
Hmm.
too. Oh fuck. that got a
Because
good laugh out of
it's
him.
what they do.
It's what they do, right? It's funny to say that I dated a chuckle fucker for a while, and the guy Warhol asked me if he was up here last month. I didn't have shows, but I missed seeing him. But there's a pattern of that, right? Like, man, your girlfriend should be your number one fan. She should look at everybody else's comedy and be like, they're all right, but they're not you, baby, right?
Right.
Mhm.
If I'm not the number one player in my house, I can't be the number one player in my house. That's a good way to end. I like that, Nathan. Give it up for
Sounds
Nathan
good.
Hart. Tell us, where are you at? Where are you out of? Where are you basing right now? You said Central Oregon, right?
Yeah. I'm based in Eugene, but I kind of drive all over the Pacific Northwest. You can check my tour dates at comicnathanhart.squarespace.com. I've got my podcast is going to be airing sooner or later. I don't know. With my I was recording them, and then my recorder, the batteries in it exploded in my trunk while I was on the road, so that I lost like 5 episodes that I'd gone
Oof.
down and never released.
I
So
know.
we're starting over. But that's gonna be Heart's Content, and it'll be out sooner or later.
All right. Well, thank you for
Yay!
being here, Nathan. I hope you had a good time. Give it up for our co-host with the most, Hershel. They've been working her ass off. Hershel, Janejira, and then give it up for Brock Olive,
Yes, we love him. Bye, Ben.
the bisexual brontosaurus.
Yes.
And I've been your favorite host. You know who I am. You know what fucking time it is. It's the Soup Man, the yo guy, the black Seth Rogen, the guy with the shitty laugh, the guy with the heart on his face. Aw,
Aw, it's perfect for Valentine's
I was
Day.
just gonna say, hey, Valentine's Day is coming. You got 10 days, bitches. If you want to be fucking, you better be buying some presents. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good day, everybody.